So you never know what could happen in the NFL draft. We think we know. We think we have a good idea because everyone's reading all these mock drafts and listening to Adam Schefter and, Tom Pelissaro, right? We're all reading the tweets. We know nothing, Higgins. We have no idea. These guys could be getting tweets like, hey, boss, what do you want me to put out there? Oh, let's see if we can muster up some juice for this guy and see if anyone wants to trade up and jump.
Now is rumor time. This past few weeks has been rumor time, absolutely. Whether it's been from agents trying to boost their guy up in the draft board, whether it be from teams. There's moles in the media trying to do some things as well, trying to get their own ways of getting some of that clout. And the total draft market, I think the quarterback market that you're talking about, though, is the right one to play in this draft because everyone's talking about that lineman or wide receivers draft market. And so those have inflated to 6.5, 5.5, depending on where you're looking at them. And unless you take the unders at the 7.5 side, even there it can be risky because the offensive lineman can just start falling like dominoes. But quarterbacks, there already is the Lions having the 32nd draft pick, so they could come and draft a third guy right there automatically. And Brett, we've basically already shifted right into our NFL draft topic right now. And it's an interesting draft we have because all these mock drafts, as you alluded to a little earlier, we may know nothing, but everyone's saying defensive lineman. I don't know. I feel like the Jaguars personally should go offensive lineman to protect Trevor Lawrence. Do they? I don't know. They're up there all the time for a reason. They draft poorly, I think. But if they protect Trevor Lawrence, I think that would be a good decision, even though they probably also could use one of these edge rushers.
Yeah, so this is, the quote-unquote rumor mill, right, Higgins? It's Doug Peterson, who's now the head coach of the Jaguars. He's with you, Higgins. He's in the Jake Higgins camp. We need our O-lineman. He likes that Ike Okongwu from NC State, excuse me. And then you've got the GM, Trent Baalke. He loves the upside of Trayvon Walker, who we've seen flip to the favorite the last few days. But Higgins, my money is on the owner. And the owner likes Michigan man Aiden Hutchinson at plus 350. Okay. So that's, those... you have to take all these rumors with a grain of salt is really what I'm trying to get at. But if we have word that this is the owner's guy, well, Higgins, that is noteworthy to me. So I have not moved to the quote-unquote general manager's guy, the guy that supposedly is making decision. I'm sticking with the guy that signs the checks, Higgins, at plus 350.
And Hutchinson, like you mentioned, was up until recently the favorite, and on a lot of these mock drafts, that the last ones that came out were in the beginning of April, he was at the top of those. Like you mentioned, Trayvon Walker only floated up rather recently. I think they should draft an offensive lineman. I mean, I think Ekwonu at plus 500 or Evan Neal at plus 1,200 are great value there, but I think it's too risky because I don't trust the Jaguars to actually protect Lawrence. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at the first lineman drafted market. And this might be also a little bit of a heart pick, Brett, because as a Giants fan, preferably I would love for them to draft Evan Neal. That's the guy that I would like for them to take personally. My luck, I don't think he's going to be there at 5. So I'm taking him over Ekwonu at plus 160 to be the first offensive lineman drafted. And instead of getting the SEC guy that I think the Giants should get, the Giants are going to draft the ACC guy that I don't think they should get.
Well, I mean, people are really high on...
I'm joking and making light of the conferences there. I mean, Ekwonu is absolutely a very good talent, you're right. But I personally think Evan Neal is the top offensive lineman here, and I think he's going to be the first one drafted.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's a bad strategy, Higgins. We were talking about a lot about the quarterbacks earlier, Higgins. There's really interesting discussion because if I was drafting Higgins, I'd probably lean towards a Malik Willis.
I agree.
Maybe a Sam Howell, one of these guys that has a little mobility, right? But
Maybe a
I'm
Desmond
not.
Ritter.
Maybe Ritter as well. I'm not. I'm not drafting Higgins. So we've heard in the rumor mills, Carolina prefers Pickett, and Pickett at one point was committed to Temple. I believe Matt Rule was the coach there at the time, before he went to Pitt. So there's a little bit of connection there. Pickett's rumored to be the guy for the Saints as well because he's more ready to go day one than Malik Willis. But Higgins, you're actually betting in this market. So what are you doing here?
Well, you just sold exactly the cow that I'm betting. I'm betting on Kenny Pickett to be the first quarterback drafted, also at a plus 160. I agree Malik Willis should be the first one drafted. After I placed this bet, I actually got a fear that the Houston Texans are going to go and draft Malik Willis at 3 and not. I think everyone might be sleeping after they traded Deshaun Watson. They do need a quarterback. Maybe they just go and grab one at 3 instead of trading down. But I think Kenny Pickett was named the guy by either Carolina or the Saints very early. And he's not going to fall further than 6, in my opinion. I don't think a quarterback goes earlier than 6 either. So I think he's going to be the first drafted.
Yeah, Willis, there's some rumors that the Steelers really like Malik Willis. That one would probably sting Kenny Pickett a little bit if they're both sitting there at 20. But you never know. Maybe the Steelers make a move, get up there into the high teens if both of them are still there. So a lot to watch, Higgins, in the quarterback market. I got to bring this up because you said it before we were recording. You said it's going to be a very interesting night for quarterbacks. I'm more on the fence, Higgins. So sell me. How many quarterbacks are going in the first round? And, are teams moving on these guys? What's happening here?
So I say it's an interesting night because I think if one goes in the first round, then maybe we see 2. I'm on the fence about 3. I could also see a scenario that none of them actually go in the first round. And that it was all hype. And that it's just too much talent everywhere else. And it's a best available draft. And these quarterbacks just fall. We've seen it happen.
We've seen quarterbacks fall, but
not an entire class.
I think you're probably right with Willis and Pickett going in the first round. It depends.
My third's Ritter, not Howell, personally.
Yeah, Corral's probably really the third coming off the injury. We'll see what teams think. He was undersized, a little small, so teams may be cautious, may do something there.
But it could also be a fire sale that if some people trade up and pull a quarterback, that all of a sudden we see a few of them go, and we do see 3 or 4 like Sam Howell or Desmond Ritter creep in there too.
Yeah, you never know, Higgins. That's what's always fun about the draft is, you get all these rumors and then it actually plays out live and it's so different. But one of the guys who maybe I'm buying in on a little bit, Higgins, because the Chiefs are rumored to be very interested in North Dakota State wideout Christian Watson. I think under pick 40.5 seems really realistic there. This is a guy who played at a very small school, but obviously a very talented school. They perform well. He ran very well, Higgins. He's got really good size. So I think teams are going to see his testing numbers. They'll probably throw on his tape. My guess is playing at that level with that size and speed. He probably got some good separation there, Higgins. So the tape will look pretty good. Hopefully his route running's crisp. Like, this is the stuff that gets nitty-gritty with wide receivers that I don't really have a read on, right? But I think enough talent is there. So Christian Watson under 40.5 at minus 114. The over-under, both minus 114 there. Just a little extra vig for the book because books do take a beating on draft night. So it's a fun night for gamblers overall, Higgins.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Chiefs being high on Christian Watson. I'm going to be betting on specifically which position the Chiefs are going to draft first overall. And to me, it has to be a wide receiver. There's so many wide receivers being talked about in this first round that either could fall to the Chiefs if they don't move from their back-to-back picks in the late 20s, or if they trade up into the teens, they could get themselves maybe a Drake London, maybe a Jameson Willis. God, a Jameson Williams. I did not say that name easily. His name's been skyrocketing up the board, though. It's been a lot easier for other people to say because they're loving him. I was hesitant because of his injury that he suffered late in this season and what that was going to do to his draft stock. Apparently, though, in this past month, maybe the surgery went well or something. Maybe he did well at the combine with how he talked to teams, but he was very productive, and maybe that performance was just enough too. So Jameson Williams also one of those names that could be there for the Chiefs to grab, but wide receiver plus 100. Even odds right now, I think that's fantastic because I think that is the position that they are drafting absolutely.
Yeah, fair enough. Higgins, I'll be honest with you. Some of those guys you named aren't going to be there at whatever pick the Chiefs have. They went
unless they trade up.
Unless they trade up. But yeah, I don't. I think the Chiefs stay home, but I think you're right. I think they get a wide receiver there. But I actually think Jameson Williams is going to be the first wide receiver off the board, Higgins. No disrespect to Garrett Wilson, who's the favorite, Drake London, who's co-second favorite with Jameson Williams. But you mentioned it, he's skyrocketing. I don't think it's a secret. If he was healthy, he'd probably be the number one wideout in this draft. Absolutely. So
he was a top 10, top 5, I think.
Yeah, people believe in the talent, Higgins. So I think you have a chance to have that guy on the cheap for 5 years. Like, you're going to take it. And you'll take it early just because, if the talent is so great, it's worth it.
Absolutely. I think the wide receiver class here is extremely talented, and it'll be interesting to see because there are going to be some teams, cough, cough, Eagles, cough, cough, that have struck out in recent years and are going to probably have to draft a wide receiver again. Do they strike out, or is third time the charm?
Yeah, we'll see what they do. I'm sure they're in on all these trade talks for all these guys as well. So be very interesting to watch everything unfold on draft night.
Now, are you a big day 2, day 3 draft watcher, or are you going to be mainly lost in the NBA playoffs, MLB, NHL regular season wrapping up?
So I will probably have some sort of draft on the computer type of deal going on. But I'm in it for day 1 and 2, for sure. I find it interesting. Having done player development in my past, Higgins, it's a meaningful moment in these guys' careers. Like, I'm excited for these kids. They have an opportunity here to, achieve a lifetime goal and dream. So, it's a big moment, and I think that's fun to watch unfold as well. Day 3, I'll tell you what, Higgins, I'm definitely, like, on Twitter keeping track of picks, but I'm out and about doing stuff. Like, hopefully I'm on the golf
That's your
course on
Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, hopefully I'm on the golf
I hope
course.
so. I hope I'm on the golf course too.
Yeah,
Maybe we
yeah.
can get on the golf course on Saturday.
Oh, then maybe, baby, let's go.
But
Yeah.
on Thursday, I'm going to need multiple screens. I'm going to need day 1 on a screen. I'm going to need some NBA playoffs on the other screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, NBA on the big screen. I mean, it's playoffs, baby.